This is what is often deemed the best FPV drone on the market, the Nazgul Evoke. However, I have one minor problem, that it's just a bit too heavy. There's so many cool side plates, but because of that, it's kind of hard to waterproof the drone because the electronics are so tucked away inside, not to mention a little bit pricey as well. So introducing the plain Nazgul V3, which is what I think is the best value drone, and I've brought it all the way to Hawaii to test out for the first time, which is what you should definitely not do. Anyway, let's go on a hike and see what it can do. We're out here, Crouching Lion, and the goal here is we've got the most, I think it's going to be the best FPV drone a beginner should buy, and I haven't tested it at all. So this is the first flight I'm going to do in Hawaii. You should not do this at home. Do not try this at home because this is how you lose drones. This is how drones fall out the sky, and basically I'll take one for the team. I just did not have time. I was working like a dog. There was no time for me to test this drone, so we'll test it right here today. We've got Tyler. What's up? Who hopefully will get running down this track over here. It looks sick, and I kind of already know what this drone is about, so we'll talk about review later, but it's going to be an amazing drone. It's just whether I can fly it or not. We'll see. It's funny I mentioned that because on my first flight ever, this happened. What the heck is that noise? Alright, so basically this new drone, I don't know why, on every other drone I have, I just use this GoPro attachment, it's perfectly fine, but it kept clipping this propeller. So I did some modern engineering and strapped it together, and that's what we have. Hopefully this thing flies, man. It's so windy, as you can tell, my hair's going everywhere. This is ridiculous. So perfect conditions for our first flight. That first flight was okay, but I think I can do way better than that. The wind is ridiculous, but let's send this one more time. So we just zoomed the quad, and I think it turned out quite good. We're dealing with these outrageous windy conditions. I don't even know if you can hear me. I think we got some decent ass shots. We got Tyler helping out. I just met the guy, he's such a legend. Helped me out with some of those FPV shots, which is so sick. I think we got some good ones, but it wasn't my best. Look, you can always get better, but it's so windy. Don't want to risk it too much. Again, this is the first flight. We had so many problems I didn't even foresee. Thankfully, the drone got up in the air. Did not want to leave empty-handed. Let's make our way back down. I'll talk about the drone somewhere in a more steady environment because this is a bloody good drone. I'll see you there. Alright, so we're in a very random setting right now, basically a hotel room, but let's do a very quick review of the Nazgul V3. So right off the bat, performance, all that, it flies amazing. It's basically the same as the Nazgul Evoke. There's like barely any prop wash. If you buy this drone, if you're a beginner, if you're a pro, you're going to enjoy flying this thing because it just goes so smooth, performs extremely well. Don't even worry about it. If you want to hear more, look at my other video, but trust me, it flies like a dream. Because the Nazgul V3 does not have these side plates and all the armor that the Evoke has, as you can probably see around here, the insides are basically all exposed. The drone is definitely lighter. I do feel like I can feel the difference. That might be placebo, but there are times when I'm trying to dive with the Evoke, I'm recovering from a dive, and I'm really trying to push the throttle to get this thing back in the air. Versus this, I feel like it responds a bit better. On that note, it's not going to be like a night and day flying difference. So if you're torn between the two and you want those side plates, just get the side plates. It's not a huge factor. Also, as you can tell, because these sides are opened and exposed, that means that you can try and do your best at waterproofing the drone. I tried to do that, but because this is a pre-built drone, the wires and the motor arms are pretty like stuck to the bottom. So basically the ESC is extremely glued to the bottom of the drone, and long story short, you can't really lift the ESC and get underneath it properly to waterproof it anyway. So if you're buying this for waterproofing purposes, there's a bit of a drawback there. It's not exactly free as you'd expect. But that being said, when I used the Evoke, I didn't even want to open the Evoke because it's such a hassle taking those lights and those panels out, and all those electronics inside are tiny because I use those smaller flight controllers and ESCs. So having the normal like full-size ESC and flight controllers, I do enjoy that. So long story short, the flying, the performance, all that is better on this drone because it is a little bit lighter. It flies basically the same. We're not having any drawbacks in that respect, but where it matters is that it's $60 cheaper than the Evoke. $60 US might not seem like a lot to many people, but when you live in Australia, when you live in other countries, $60 US is a lot of money. That's basically like 100 Australian dollars, and all of a sudden $100. That's a bit of a difference. If I am not mistaken, this is the cheapest O3 pre-built drone you can buy, and it's probably one of the highest quality too. Beginners can buy this, I would fly this. These carbon fiber arms are still plenty thick, as you can see. You're gonna have a really hard time breaking them, so don't stress about that. So all in all, it's basically a bit of a no-brainer in my opinion. However, there's one slight drawback, and that is basically the Evoke V3 only comes in an X configuration, as you can see here, which basically means there will be some props in the frame of the shot. If you're posting a 4K 16:9 video, a lot of that gets cropped out and you only see a tidbit in the corner. If you're filming a vertical video on a GoPro, on the other hand, because you're only taking that middle part of the image, you can actually get props free look as well. And additionally, if you took your GoPro to about 25 degrees, 20 degrees plus, you're barely going to see any props anyway, especially because the top and bottom gets cropped when you put in gyroflow. So if you're someone who's going to fly a little bit slower at about 15 degrees, you're going to probably see some props in frame. Whether it's noticeable or whether it's a bit more subtle, that might depend on which angle you fly at, but I would say that is my only drawback with this quad. If that doesn't matter to you, go buy this any day of the week. And also just keep in mind, looking at the FPV shots I put in this video, you can barely notice the props anyway, and you really have to like nitpick. Other than that, I'm on the road traveling non-stop. Let me know if you want to see any other videos or whatever. I'll catch you in the next bigger adventure. And just a quick little short one today. I'll catch you in the next one.